Hello, guys. Welcome to the Black Global Podcast. I am Lucy.
And I'm Eugene.
And welcome to a special episode. Today, our special episode is on the Tennis Blacklist Award. If some of you are familiar, if some of you are fam from over a year, you know that we did one last year where we actually won an award ourselves. That was our first award, a major award. But yeah, and this year we are back to again give you a special podcast on the night of the 10th Blacklist Awards 2025.
It was a very, very special night.
Very special.
This was their third year because last year was their second year. But this was the third year, and it was even more special because it was held at the Queen's Club.
Yes.
During the HSBC Championships, well, the women's event as well, which is also very significant, being the first women's event in over 50 years. So yeah, like a really good turnout. I know attendees also had tickets for that day as well, so they also got to see like first class like WTA 500 tennis being played like in the day, and then in the evening it was the awards, which was quite nice.
Definitely.
But no, it was a. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, just in case people didn't know what the Tennis Blacklist Award is, just a quick intro. Obviously, yearly they throw this award to award those who are Black and mixed heritage in the tennis industry, and just celebrate them and what they've done, whether they're players, whether they're behind the scenes. So that's Tennis Blacklist. Obviously in the UK, founded in the UK, but yeah, I think like you said earlier, Eugene, third year running now. Back to what you were saying about the whole like them getting a ticket to the tournament.
Yeah, no, so it was a very good day.
That was really dope. Yeah, and it was sunny that day. It was great, but yeah, I liked it because I really want to see more Black people at Queen's Club. Listen, it is what it is. I have to keep it 100. The fact that it's a tournament in London, and we do have a lot of Black people here, a lot of Caribbean people, African people, wherever they're from. So yeah, it was nice, seeing a very diverse group of people coming in. And my hope is to see that in a lot of days at Queen's Club, not just the one day where, Tennis Blacklist did that. But shout out to the LTA for giving those tickets as well. Because they could have just said, have the event and call it a day. But especially that Queen's Club is very small. So yeah, a massive shout out to LTA for doing that.
But no, we were able to speak to the winners, or some of the winners anyway, that made themselves available to speak to press or media, which is also a nice touch because that's what happened last year too. We did the same thing. And obviously, we were the media winners. But yeah, I'm just think events like that, like you said, in terms of kind of basically introducing black people to tennis. I think it's so important, and to do that at like a live event in terms of a proper tennis tournament. I think it was a masterful kind of touch, basically. So hopefully, next year it's back at Queen's.
I hope so. I hope the LTA keeps that up. To be honest, I think that's a very, very good look, very nice touch as well. And it doesn't make it look like, I hope I'm not being too honest or harsh here, but it doesn't make it look like too performative. It makes it look like this is sincere, like we're here to actually invest and, celebrate the Black people in the industry as well.
Exactly. So, 100%. So should we get into the winners? So let's start with the icon winner, the one and only Arthur Ashe.
Yes.
He obviously, his family weren't present, but the esteemed British journalist Richard Evans was there to collect the award on their behalf. And it was great. It was great speaking to Richard. Lucy was so excited when we saw him.
Guys, oh my gosh. I mean, there were like people that were probably more famous than Richard Evans. And I was just like, yeah, nice to see you, cool in it. But I just met Richard Evans. I don't care. Like, no, it was honestly such an honor, actually. And we didn't know he was going to be the one.
No, no, we
We
didn't.
knew,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was a nice surprise at the same time, but mainly because for those who don't know, obviously this year is the 50th anniversary of Arthur Ashe winning his Wimbledon title. And we are even a collaboration with the Arthur Ashe Legacy,
At
where,
UCLA. Yeah.
at UCLA, where we are going through archives and
Mm.
interviews of people talking about Arthur Ashe and all of these stories. Guys, these are stories that people don't know about. And we already recorded one special pod on how Arthur Ashe has formed the ATP or helped form the
Played a part.
ATP.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've got another one coming up, literally like a week. Very excited for that one. So stay tuned for that. And Richard Evans was one of those people that we were listening to. And it was great. It was honestly great. All these great stories that he had, and obviously his legacy himself and everything. So yeah, when he was walking up, I was like, "Rah, is that Richard Evans?"
I really like his voice. Like I think he's got a very like
Mm-hmm.
distinctive voice. Like there's like a proper presence when he speaks.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
obviously he knows Ash like so well. He knew Ash really well. Like he traveled the
Really
world with
well.
him, covered him
Mm-hmm.
but like obviously during his playing career as well. And they were
Yeah.
good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of all you kind of get that sense when you hear him speak. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's play what he said. So yeah, here's Richard Evans.
Yes, it's great. It's a great honor to receive an award on behalf of the family of Arthur Ashe, of Jean Matusimi Ashe, his amazing wife, who played such a big part in his life, but especially when he became ill. She was such a force for him. And also Johnny Ashe, his brother, who unbelievably volunteered for a second tour of duty in Vietnam. So his lieutenant brother at West Point wouldn't have to actually go to Vietnam, which is being a brother, isn't it? So it's just a great honor to be here because Arthur was very special to all of us who were on the tour in those days. He was such a popular figure, but also a respected figure because he was a remarkable personality. He was able, I was talking to Richard of the Blacklist, another Richard, earlier, saying that how difficult it must have been for him to follow the almost orders, or certainly the suggestion of Dr. Johnson, with whom he lived as a young man. He left Richmond and went to Lynchburg and lived with this coach who said, "You're going into a white world. Never give the white man an opportunity to criticize you." Which I asked Richard, I said, "Could you have done that?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure." And I saw Arthur under very stressful situations in South Africa and various other places. And I only saw him lose his temper once, which was all about a situation with Ilie Nastase, the mad Romanian, at the Masters final in Stockholm. It had nothing to do with race, and he was able to laugh off. I mean, the players treated him as such a friend that they could tease him and call him things that other people might have been offended by. Nastase called him Negroni. That was his way of addressing Arthur, and a lot of people would have been offended. Yeah. But Arthur just smiled and said, "It's Nastase, what do you expect?" And so he was remarkable in the way that he handled everything in his life. But even those of us who knew him well were surprised. Towards the end, he said, "I've never left my apartment in Manhattan and walked on the streets of New York without realizing I'm a black man." And then we got a feeling of what was going on underneath and inside, and which he never showed, really.
So do you think he would have gradually started opening up a little bit, or do you think he would have still been reserved? Because a lot of the things that people always said about him was he was a very private person, very hard to read. But do you think he maybe would have opened up a bit, or?
Very difficult to know because, of course, the illness just took over his life, and he was very reluctant to let anyone know about that. And then a friend of his, a reporter, wrote the story, so it was out there. And so he came out of his shell a bit because he realized then that, okay, the story's out, now I can start doing some good for people. In that sphere, he was doing a lot of good for a lot of people in other spheres, but that particular sphere of catching AIDS and, the gay community and the whole thing. And he realized that he could do well in that area as well.
And what would you say I don't know if you could pick because you have so many stories with him, but what would you say like your most memorable or favorite moments with Arthur Ashe?
I don't know. I think on the trip to South Africa, which was historic, I realized I thought as I witnessed what I'm going to describe to you, that this is more than a tennis player, this is a statesman. Because we were asked to attend a big meeting in a stuffy hall of black journalists in Johannesburg. And they weren't happy to see him. The majority felt that he was being used by the Afrikaner government. And actually one person near me said, Uncle Tom and Arthur, you're going to leave and we'll still be in the same situation, da, 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 da. And it was a real test of how he handled that. And he just kept to his personal script of saying, I think I'm doing good by being here. I cannot criticize the situation in South Africa if I never see it. I have to come and at least see for myself. And he handled the whole situation brilliantly. And, I just thought he was amazing.
Not surprised that he mentioned the South Africa being one of the most memorable thing about Ashe, because it really is. It really, really is. And to be honest, it's weird. Growing up, I didn't realize. I mean, you always hear people talking about the South Africa trip. It wasn't until I was going through those archives that I realized that, wow, like this really was more of a bigger thing than people make it seem that it is. So when even though I asked that question, as I asked, I had a feeling of him saying South Africa. So massive shout out to Richard Evans for putting up, and a massive shout out to Tennis Blacklist for handing that award to the one and only Arthur Ashe. And again, guys, please tune into our pod for all the Arthur Ashe stories, especially during Wimbledon. I can't say the surprises. I can't give you guys too much. But all I'm saying is we are 100% celebrating the legacy of Arthur Ashe, and not just for Wimbledon, the entire year. So shout out to Tennis Blacklist and the Arthur Ashe legacy at UCLA. Who do we have next?
Let's go game changer in the community. So Jabilayh Asante, friend of the pod, actually. We've had Jabilayh on the pod.
Yes, we have.
So she's the founder of Back-It, which is a mobile tennis club rooted in community, culture and representation. You've actually been to a Back-It event, haven't you?
I did. And I highly, highly, highly recommend it, guys. I know I am a tennis yapper, but I don't know. And nobody can tell me off about it, okay? Shout out to the people that love tennis but can't play, But I have
so ironic.
Listen, it is what it is. Like, we talk about how hard it is being, playing tennis, and I'm here. I'm the living proof, but I made it, innit? I'm here. Tennis tournaments. But no, jokes aside, I've been to some tennis classes here and there, and yeah, I've had my fun, but Back-It was the first time I played tennis and I was like, I want to play more. But most importantly, I felt so comfortable. I felt very free. I felt like, like I knew, especially that obviously, we're here I talk about tennis nearly every day. So I feel kind of weird or like a bit like shy to be coming to the court and be like, I don't know how to play. Yeah, I'm a yap. They will be saying, you know how to play. But I felt very safe and comfortable there. So Jabilayh putting this together is just such a wonderful idea, especially that obviously she's American. So building that, I know, I remember when she came on our pod and she explained, how like rah, there isn't that black tennis community in the UK.
Yeah.
So the fact that she wanted to start it off with that is such a brilliant idea, because there are black people out here that are interested in playing tennis, are interested in watching tennis, but people are not marketing them, you know? So, we, for example, we do it through our podcast with the players and getting them to watch it. And people like her are doing it by telling them, hey, pull up and come and actually play and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Get on court. Get a racket in your hand. Yeah.
Get a racket. And they sell out quick, guys.
Mm.
The tickets, like when they're like, yeah, we're ready, they sell out really quick. The coaches are great. I like the fact that it's black coaches. There's music playing. So, it's hip hop music, black
It's a vibe.
music.
It's a whole vibe.
It's a vibe. It's not them quiet things that you guys are getting at Queen's Club where everyone's just clapping and keeping quiet. But yeah.
Let's hear what Jabilayh had to say, obviously after picking up her award.
How does it feel to be here at actual awards? Because this award is very different. We are championing the black people in the industry. So yeah, how does it feel?
I think that it's about time, if I could be frank. I do think that we so often are used to the same champions and the same winners and the same faces. So to see a award ceremony specifically for honoring those in our community, I feel like more of these things need to happen. And not only that, I think that they need to be broadcast when they do happen so that people can know that we do exist.
Yeah. Well, talk a bit about Back It as well, because you started that, it's been, what, 2 years now, or 3 years? Oh, it's just one. Okay.
One. It's a baby girl.
Feels like it's been around for a while.
Maybe a baby boy. I don't know.
But yeah, talk a bit about Back It and like what it's about and like, yeah, kind of what you want to do with it.
Yeah. So when I started Back It, my vision for it was much different than what it is now. I do think I'll still be able to reach that vision. It's very much so introducing tennis in the most casual setting as like a top golf or like a bowling. Bowling is bowling, but like mini golf or so on and so forth. I wanted people to have a crash course into the sport, and then therefore they can make the decision whether or not they want to take it further by me making sure that professionals, like actual licensed tennis coaches were offering the sessions. So of course it's a networking opportunity, it's a social opportunity, but more important, it should be a gateway into the sport.
Love that. Have you found like the kind of the attendees have like changed over time? Like, so you're probably getting more people that are like kind of maybe into tennis, but not sure if they want to, or not sure if they could even play, but they're attending anyway because like, yeah, they just want to see what it's about. Or are you seeing more kind of social players that play more regularly or often? Like what's the kind of the makeup of attendees basically?
Yeah, so it's actually become so fluid. So there's a number of players that actually have a lot of experience, and there's a number of players that day, that moment is the very first time that they've picked up the racket. I feel like much to what I didn't expect to happen when this was beginning, I feel like it became a space that people can have a sense of community, a new understanding of the game, and more importantly, walk away with different relationships. We've seen people try and get into tennis on their own. We've seen people also try and get into coaching. We've seen people also, just try and support us and take us to the next level, offering us other services aside from the tennis. So I honestly think it's just a space where tennis and culture, certain people of the culture exist. So it's great.
So yeah, I also love the fact that she was able to take part in she did the coin toss for the Emma Navarro Beatrice Haddad-Maia match, which she spoke about, which I enjoyed hearing about. And she just said it was a great experience, like being next to like two pros and like having that moment. So yeah, massive shout out again, like to the LTA and Tennis Blacklist for making that happen, because again, that's something that's gonna like, she'll remember that forever, basically. Mm-hmm. But yeah, massive shout out to Jabilayh, because like you said, the work she's doing, and she's also the co-founder of Black Tennis Mentors UK with Aram Akon. Yeah. And obviously they do great work as well, like in the tennis space, like in the UK. So it's just nice to kind of see them being recognized, and like, yeah, things are kind of going from strength to strength, like year on year. So long may that continue. And just again, massive shout out to Jabilayh. Our next winner that we spoke to was Sena Akpo-Young, and yeah, he was recognized in the coaching and performance category. So he's actually based in Glasgow, Scotland. And again, some of our listeners may be familiar with the surname Akpo-Young. So his brother Caleb writes for Black Spin Global. Like he's written a few articles for us. Well, I guess over the past year and a bit. So that's probably why you were familiar with the name Akpo-Young. They are related. But back to Sena, he's the lead, he's one of the lead coaches at Hillhead Tennis Club in Glasgow. And he predominantly works with the women's first team. And they're like a pretty high level, like it's performance level. So they kind of travel all around Scotland playing against different clubs. But yeah, he's the head coach, or like basically heads up that team. And again, it was great to kind of hear from him to kind of get an idea of like what the tennis landscape's like in Scotland. Obviously, we're in the UK, so yeah, let's play what Sena said, and yeah, we'll get back to it.
Well, it's kind of varied, kind of based out of Hillhead. I kind of started off in various different clubs, kind of now based out of Hillhead. We do a number of different things, from kind of community tennis, kind of people that are kind of just starting out, beginners, that kind of stuff. We also work with a lot of kind of inspiring performance players that are kind of internationally playing all over. We've got a player currently in Bath doing the Tennis Europe, who's number 1, number 2 under 12s in the UK. We've got other players that we've got a lot of teams. Team tennis is taken off in Hillhead Tennis Club. It's kind of gone from a club that's had about 300 members now to over 500 members.
Wow.
Who are, some of which are playing at really, really high level. Teams this year, we had both our men's and women's teams that have just broken into the highest division for Tennis West of Scotland tennis, and they've never ever been in the leagues before.
Nice.
So that was a major thing for us. Was one of the projects that myself and the head coach at Hillhead Tennis Club, Ash Webster, was working on, was to get our teams in the Premier Division. So both the men and the women have done that for the first time in the club's history.
And you work mainly with the women's team?
Just with the women's team. So I've kind of worked with the women's team for a couple of years now, kind of really hard, all the way from like Division 1, 2, which if I tell you that's like 2 divisions off the Premier, so we've had to put a lot of work in to make sure that we can progress them. And one of the best things about it is just that they're all from different backgrounds. We've got a player from Chile playing, we've got a player from Barcelona, or background Barcelona, mum's from Barcelona. So it's just been amazing to be able to kind of recognise not only just myself, but players like that getting involved in tennis, because normally it's not kind of available to those kind of players, and I think it's important that those players are also recognised. So it's not just the work I do, they work hard all the time to make sure that they could achieve what they've achieved, and I think that's really important.
That's really cool. But how did you actually get into coaching? Like, what made you get into it?
Oh God, that's a long story. We could be here for hours, but I'll kind of give you the short thing. I mean, it wasn't planned, to be honest. I kind of started off playing at my local park with my mum and dad. My dad kind of plays a lot of table tennis, but mum was into a lot of tennis. Okay. So we played there for ages with both my brothers, kind of Wimbledon, as everybody does in the summer, where we would cycle across the park and play hours and hours of tennis. We'd like play 5-setters and stuff like this, and we'd be there till dark. And then there was actually a black coach at Kelvin Grove who thought we were pretty good, because we just copied what we watched on the TV, and then ended up kind of taking it further. My brother, who's not here today, he's played a lot of competitions. He ended up competing kind of all over Britain, Portugal, ITFs and that kind of stuff. And I ended up coaching him, I think, at about 14, 15, because obviously tennis is such an expensive sport. It wasn't always accessible to be able to get the amount of hours you have to put on court to be able to be successful. So I helped him from about 17, and then did an apprenticeship for Tennis Scotland as a result of people seeing me coaching him for hours on end. And that's how I kind of got into coaching, but it was just through helping my brother and making sure he could pursue his kind of journey in tennis.
Fantastic.
That was it, really.
And just lastly on the award, like how special is it kind of being, at Queen's Club? It's quite a famous, prestigious club, and like for this event to be here and like for you to receive your award, like how does it feel?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's kind of something you've watched on TV since you were really young, but I think even more important than coming to Queen's for it is just being at an event celebrating kind of black and mixed race people, because growing up in Glasgow, I'm one of 2 black tennis coaches, so it's amazing to come and socialise with people that kind of are black and mixed race, because it's not something you often do a lot, so it just kind of gives you that kind of side of your culture and explore that kind of side of tennis, and also just socially as well.
Yeah.
I think for me, what I really like is the fact that, he's actually supporting women in this as well, especially as a black coach. I think that's really, really dope. And you can tell that he's very like passionate about it. And everything that he's been accomplishing as well. So yeah, a massive shout out to him. Because a lot of time these coaches, they just want to focus on the fellas, get their money and then go. So people that are really into making an impact, especially already when you're a black coach, where probably dismissed, and it's not like he's in London, he's in Glasgow, bro.
Yeah.
That's different. So I have to keep that in mind. Like the black community in the UK is small. And you take it out of London, there's a whole different thing. So yeah, shout out to him for pulling that, and obviously shout out to his brother as well. Massive well done to Sena.
Yeah. The next category, so officiating,
Yes.
Veronica Mwondela. So she's also a member of the British Tennis Umpires Association, has been a member since 1996. She's officiated at over 25 Wimbledons, 2 US Opens, and numerous ATP and WTA events like around the world. So yeah, she's kind of seen it all pretty much, like in pro tennis as an official. And again, I love the fact that, like someone like her is being recognized because she's basically been kind of in the game for so long. I wonder if she probably hasn't. This is probably the first award like she's kind of received, like that's basically true. To kind of, I guess, show for her work in professional tennis. So
yeah, but here's what she has to say from the award show.
How are you feeling like after receiving your award?
Well, I've just been reflecting over the past few days, because of this award. And I just feel that the award is not just for me today, but it's for those people that championed me in my early officiating career, coming into an environment that people may not have thought that I belonged. And these people championed me. I hope I can mention just a few people.
Sure.
The late Maureen Laffey, she really, really encouraged me and told me I could actually go as far as I wanted to go. And Mike Morrissey, at the time I didn't realize, but again, he was ahead of the curve as far as things to do with equality, diversity, inclusion was concerned. Les Maddox, who used to be chief of umpires at Wimbledon, they just made sure that I got the opportunities that I deserved because I worked just as hard as everybody. And and I just think if they didn't act the way they did and encourage me, perhaps I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't be here to encourage others to come through.
That's so nice.
And you've been in the industry for nearly 30 years. How's that experience been for you specifically as a Black woman, especially in this industry where there's not like a lot of us in it?
Yeah, it was really hard to begin with. I felt that you had to be maybe 3-4 times as hardworking and as good as anybody else. And it was hard kind of seeing people coming through very, very quickly, but you stuck by it and you stuck with people that encourage you, like the people that I've just mentioned. You begin to actually let yourself be out there and be focused and just do what you do and do it well. And then it got much easier. But what I found is that as the world has begun to embrace and recognize that actually it doesn't matter about who you are, your faith, your color of skin, or whatever it is, you really we need to give opportunities to everyone quite equally. And it's just about giving people opportunities. And once I started going up in the ranks, if you like, I felt I owed it to, people out there for me to open doors as well and for me to mentor. And because I've been in their place and I know how hard it is. And you start to make those opportunities for other people as well. You start to train and you start being that voice, you start speaking up. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be on the Association of British Tennis Officials Management Committee, because I thought, well, it's to represent those that may feel that they don't have a voice. And so, yeah, and I hope that, by the time I'm finished and gone, somebody would say, well, it was Veronica who encouraged me, just like I'm talking about Maureen, Mike, Les, and yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like Lucy said, you've had a long kind of time in this industry. Like, you've got a very storied career, I guess. What's been like maybe some of the highlights, like favorite tournaments or events?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Give us a couple.
And I know I say this not just because we're here at Queen's, but this is one of my really favorite tournaments, because for me, it's like Wimbledon without all the other, oh my goodness, it can be quite intense, and, you don't have access to so much because of security and all that. Whereas this it's for me, it's like a baby Wimbledon, and I really love it. But I also like think about all the first things that I've done for the first time. The first time is always special. The first time you step on centre court at Wimbledon, that was a really special moment. The first time that I got a final, and it goes back to, it was a Federer Roddick final long time ago in 2009, I think it was. So the first time when that happens, the first time that I went to a slam overseas at the US Open. So those moments are really special. And of course, we're all people. And even though, you're on court and you're really impartial, there are some players that you think, oh my goodness, I you root for them and what have you. And it's really been lovely to see athletes of color coming through. And the first time you step on court with them, it's really wonderful. So there's just so many moments. I mean, the Olympics happening in London and being there, that is something that, it's a story for my grandchildren,
Yeah, I'm really glad how she was talking about, making a difference for like the future, and also sharing the experience of being a Black woman in the industry. Obviously, I think about that a lot for myself, because I am hoping I'll be in this industry for a long time. And I'm like, man, look at me, a woman and Black. So I always like to ask those questions to Black women in industry, whether it's players, whether it's people like Veronica, whether it's journalists, you name it. So yeah, a massive shout out to her and wishing her all the best, and a thank you for her work.
Definitely.
But yeah, obviously there was a lot more winners, but not everyone was able to attend. So let's do a special shout out to the rest of the winners. Game changing the community. We have Justin Tandy. He was actually supposed to come.
Yeah, but something came up last minute.
Something came up at the very last minute.
So I hope everything's okay there. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he won the Game Changing the Community. He is the founder of Breaking Barriers Tennis Association, which that's another reason why I was like, kind of gutted that he wasn't able to come.
Yeah, it would have been good to talk to him. Definitely.
Interesting to know more about that. I will share a little bit here about what that is. Yeah, so it's an organization dedicated to increase access to tennis for children from underrepresented communities. So through his leadership, the association works to eliminate socioeconomic and cultural barriers by integrating these children into traditional tennis venues and programs. And this is very important because, it starts from the beginning, where a lot of young kids want to get into tennis and they either block because they don't have the same opportunity, or they're facing, some sort of like discrimination, which isn't fair. So yeah, I mean, a sport that is so global should be accessible as well. So shout out to Justin for helping kids on doing that as well. Next, media, which we won last year. Hey, Shout out to us. And our boy Tamani. He won the year before that. The winner this year, however, is Carole Bouchard, French tennis journalist. Some of you will be familiar with her work. But yeah, she won the award. Obviously, she was not able to attend as she's based in France. But I do think during the award, she had like a thank you video.
I think the same for Justin as well. I think he posted a video through.
As well. Yeah. So shout out to her. Rising stars, Clairvy Ngunu and Angela Okutoyi are girls. We did have Angela as well on our pod a couple months ago, so check that out if you do want to know more about her. But yeah, they've been killing it. They've been doing really great. So yeah, shout out to them for winning those. The other player, we had quite a few winners for the player. Obviously, Naomi Osaka for a nice return. Taylor Townsend, Wimbledon doubles champion and Australian double champion as well. And also mixed doubles US Open finalist. Hey. Madison Keys, Australian Open champion, and I think she's done pretty decent for clay season as well, especially that she didn't play as much after the Australian Open. So shout out to her. And Chris, our boy, friend of the pod, best friend of the pod. How about that? Christopher Eubanks. So shout out to the players. International trail blazers. We have Cherin Tualis. Forgive me if I haven't pronounced that well, but yeah, Rwandan and Swedish tennis professional and the ITF development officer for East and Central Africa since 2011, which is nice to see because the ITF has been expanding a little bit more, in Africa. We've had some tournaments in Brazzaville, tournaments in Cote d'Ivoire as well. So yeah, shout out to Thierry and the ITF for putting a lot more events in Black Africa. Let's change that. Let's change that to some 250s. ACP and WC. How about we do that? Administration, we got Martin Blackman, which I remember seeing him at the US Open. I was just a bit too shy to speak to him. A former American tennis player and served as general manager of player development at the USTA from 2014 to 2024. So shout out to Martin Blackman. And last but not least, college player, Nigeria's Baraka Oyinlomo Quadri. Did I pronounce that right?
That sounds very correct.
Yeah, okay. Florida International University. Yeah, that's really strong. And South Africa's Kolo Monsi. I hope I pronounced that well as well. I'm so sorry if I butchered the name.
No, that is correct. Eugene. That is correct.
Okay, I just want to be right because normally I let Eugene say the name just in case, From the University of Oklahoma, now Texas and A&M. So yeah, shout out to the college players, which I think that's actually a new category as well. As Black players, we didn't have that before. So yeah, but yeah, shout out to all the winners. One thing that we did forget to mention at the beginning, this year awards were presented in association with Dante Talent. So yeah, we tried to get someone from the company to speak to us, and we got Irish tennis coach David
O'Hare.
You see, this is what I stopped. Shout out to David O'Hare, who is consultant.
He gave me the firmest handshake. I actually had to compliment this handshake because that's a proper man's handshake.
Shout out to David. He's a consultant in an agency, and he shared his thought on the award night and the importance of Dante's backing. And here's what he had to say.
Can you talk a bit about Dante getting behind the event and kind of what that means for the organisation?
Well, I think just it's really the crux of it is just trying to support tennis players. I think from my perspective, growing up in this industry, I lacked a little bit of guidance. So just being able to put things in perspective for young, players. I mean, it's multifaceted. We're kind of doing pre and post college pathways, and if there is an appetite for kids to go on pro post college, then we'll be there to guide them, because in the early stages it can be quite lonely. There's a lot of losing as out on the tour. It's very difficult. So just to keep things actually glass half full and to guide these young players through the through the ranks and hopefully progress up.
Nice. And talk a bit about the work you guys do in terms of Dante. Like, what's the organization about? Like, yeah, what's the work you guys do?
So my role is I'm a high performance consultant. So essentially, my role within Dante is exactly that: is getting kids that have gone through the college system and then aspiring pros and cultivating opportunities for them using the network that we have at Dante for training facilities, coaches. So I lead the Dante Access, which is essentially access to kind of high-end coaches that maybe young pros don't have the means to afford that on a full-time basis. So it's kind of remote coaching and being able to support once they kind of climb the ranks. And now that a lot of these futures events are now being streamed, you can actually do a huge amount remote. And you know what it's like as a tennis player. It's so hard to be objective when you're out on court. You don't have the ability to actually understand what actually is going on. So to have a second set of eyes and to really coach you through it and be like, actually, you're never as good as you think you are. You're never as bad as you think you are. You're always kind of somewhere in the middle. So to kind of keep the main thing and the players' development at the forefront, that's really what we're all about, and my role in particular.
Shout out to Dante. It's really important. I think we need to talk about like the importance of people like the Dante Talent or any other agencies, backing things like, Tennis Blacklist, because a lot of times, a lot of the Black focus companies, Black focus
businesses,
platforms, businesses, they do not get the same opportunities of funding and stuff. So having even just the name Dante Talent with it, it makes a difference. People, it gives them more exposures, more opportunities. So the fact that they were able to get that is really, really great.
And speaking to David as well, like you can tell, like they understand like what the message is. Like they get it, and I think that's also very telling. Like you could always tell when you kind of mentioned it earlier about like things being performative. Like that wasn't like a performative move. Like they understand and they get what Blacklist or Tennis Blacklist is all about and like what they're trying to do. So yeah, big shout out to Dante Talent. And it's like you said, it's important to have organizations and like companies backing events like this. So yeah, just well done all round.
And then to close, we spoke to founders Anne-Marie, Batson and Richard Sackey-Addo to get their thoughts on how the evening went, especially after such a successful award show. And this is what they had to say.
Talk to us about this year, man. Like, what a step up. Every year it just keeps getting better and better.
For sure.
I don't know how we're going to top this in 2026, quite frankly. I think the level of expectation, like, well, you've had it at the Queen's Club. Don't you think?
We set ourselves that hard challenge, but we'll rise to it. I think it's been amazing to have the tournament host us. We're thankful to the LTA, to the tournament, everyone who's made this possible, to our sponsor, Dante Talent, have been fantastic. To be able to, when we said we were going to come here, we wanted to be able to bring people to the tennis to experience not just live tennis. Loads of people in this room have never seen live tennis, let alone elite women's tennis in such a historic tournament. So it's our privilege to be the conduit for that to be able to happen, and long may that continue.
Fantastic. Also, kind of, being here, like you said, with the event actually going on, this is the first year, the first time in 50 years, over 50 years, that the women's events come back to Queen's. Like, again, talk about the significance of that and like you guys being here for that as well. And like you said, kind of giving people the access to watch, WTA 500 tennis.
Well, it's because of the opportunity from the LTA. They were the ones who came to us and said, look, we've got this amazing space. We think you should hold the tennis blacklist here. The only caveat is it's going to be a few weeks earlier than planned, because obviously Rich and I were thinking, end of June, we've got a bit of time. But when we spoke about it, we were both, if we don't do this, we're just going to have to get our heads down. And because it's such a momentous occasion, being here for the HSBC Championships, like you said, Eugene, 50 years, women, being here, women's tennis with Jabilayh doing the coin toss as well for the first match.
She spoke about that, yeah.
So I don't know how we're going to top this, but we can now say that we held an event in that historic week of WTA tennis.
Insane. Part of history.
Absolutely, and particularly for what the WTA stands for. The WTA Tour, what's founded upon, what it operates on, its principles, championing underrepresented voices and equality. It's exactly what we're here to do. So it's our pleasure to share in that and host an event at the same time as a WTA Tour event.
But yeah, a massive, massive shout out again to Anne Marie and Richard. You can tell and hear from the voice that they were very excited and proud of what they've accomplished. But yeah, it was a successful night. Shout out to the DJ at the end as well, by the way. He was playing some nice tunes. I was liking that. I was seeing, Alexis moving around. Moving his
Shout out
shoulders.
to Alexis Sims,
Shout out to
LTA.
Alexis Sims, LTA.
It's nice you mentioned the guests as well, because they did have some celebrities as well, like, or VIPs.
They did.
Show up. So you had Jonathan Overend, the Sky Sports tennis lead commentator. It was nice seeing him again because he presented us with our award last year. Darren Lewis, the Daily Mirror, he's like a senior editor of the Daily Mirror, and also like on the board of British Journalists Association. So he's a big wig in like the journalism space. A really nice guy as well. I think Alexander Sanderson, former England Lioness football player. So yeah, there was like a nice mix of like.
And don't forget also James Darcy.
But no, like you said, Lucy, overall, like a great night. It was a really, really good evening. And just, special kind of, it was even more special because it was a Queen's Club. And it was, like you said again, great weather. Like the weather was amazing. We were on the balcony doing the interviews as well.
Yeah,
so
taking pictures of me as well.
it was just a great night all round. So yeah, massive shout out to Anne-Marie and Richard again for once again like putting off such a great event. And like we said to them as well, like it continues to kind of grow from strength to strength, like year on year, which is great to see. So big up to Anne-Marie and Richard for everything they're doing with the Tennis Blacklist. And yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up this special episode. So
shout out to the winners, shout out to the LTA, shout out to Dante Talent, and shout out to Black Spin Global for bringing you this podcast and reminding you of this award show. So yeah, guys, this is a great way to get you pumped for grass season.
It's official, it's here.
It's official, is here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the pod, and if you did, please continue to tune in. We've got a lot more coming up for this grass season. Again, don't forget, we are celebrating Arthur Ashe. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for our daily Wimbledon pods. Stay tuned for our pods. Stay tuned for everything black tennis. So
perfect. Cheers, guys. Until next time.